Welcome back to Uncorking the Issues. I'm your host, Grapevine. Today's episode is titled Safe for Who? Rethinking Public Safety in Temecula Valley. We're talking about public safety, but not just the version we hear in campaign slogans or Facebook comments. We're talking about what safety actually means, who it works for, and who it doesn't. Because here's the truth, public safety isn't experienced equally. Some people feel protected by the system. Others feel watched by it. Some see police presence and feel reassured. Others see the same thing and feel tension. So, when we say we want to be safe, we have to ask a harder question. Safe for who? Let's start with Temecula Valley. Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee, Wildomar. These are communities often described as safe, family-oriented, and stable. And for many residents, that's true. But that doesn't mean safety is evenly distributed, because safety isn't just about crime rates. It's about stability. It's about housing. It's about access to resources. It's about whether people feel like they belong in public spaces or feel like they're being pushed out of them. Now let's talk about what's driving the current conversation. You've probably heard concerns about homelessness, retail theft, property crime changes in the community, and the response we hear most often is more enforcement, more policing, more crackdowns, more visible action. But here's where we need to slow down, because enforcement answers the question, how do we respond? It does not answer the question, why is this happening? Let's take homelessness. It's one of the most visible public safety issues right now, and it's often framed as a problem to remove, clear encampments, move people along, keep public spaces clean. But homelessness is not just a visibility issue. It's a housing issue, a mental health issue, an economic issue. And when we treat it only as a public safety problem, we end up using enforcement to manage something that enforcement can't solve. Because here's what happens. Encampments get cleared. People move. The issue reappears somewhere else. That's not resolution. That's displacement. Now, let's talk about policing, because law enforcement plays a critical role in public safety. But the question isn't whether policing matters, it's how it's used. In many cases, police are asked to respond to situations that aren't actually criminal: mental health crises, substance abuse issues, people in distress. And when the only tool we have is enforcement, every situation starts to look like a problem to control. So what are the alternatives? Investment in mental health services, crisis response teams that aren't law enforcement, housing first approaches that stabilize people before addressing other issues, community-based programs that prevent problems before they escalate. These approaches aren't about being soft. They're about being effective, because prevention reduces harm before it becomes something that requires enforcement. Now, let's talk about budgets, because this is where priorities become real. Public safety spending, especially policing, is one of the largest parts of local budgets. And increasing enforcement means increasing that investment. But what if some of that investment went toward prevention, toward housing stability, toward youth programs, toward mental health infrastructure? Would that create a different kind of safety? Because safety isn't just the absence of crime. It's the presence of stability. It's knowing people have what they need before things break down. Now, let's bring this back to Temecula Valley. What are we prioritizing? Are we investing in systems that respond after something happens? Or systems that reduce the chances of it happening in the first place? And here's the tension. Short-term solutions are visible. Long-term solutions are not. You can see more patrol cars. You can see encampments cleared, but you don't immediately see a young person staying out of trouble because they had support, someone avoiding homelessness because they had access to housing, a crisis de-escalated because the right team showed up. Those wins are quieter, but they matter. So, what should residents be asking? Start here. What does public safety actually include in our community? How much are we investing in enforcement versus prevention? What outcomes are we tracking? Are we measuring arrests? Or are we measuring stability? Because those are very different goals. And if we're serious about safety, we have to be willing to look beyond the surface. This isn't about being pro-police or anti-police. It's about being pro-community. It's about building a system where fewer people end up in crisis in the first place, where public spaces are safe because people are supported, not just controlled. And that kind of safety, it takes intention, it takes investment, and it takes a willingness to move past simple answers. Because public safety isn't just about what happens when things go wrong. It's about what we build. So things go right. This has been Uncorking the Issues, pouring clarity into Temecula Valley politics. I'm your host, Grapevine. And until next time, stay curious, stay questioning. And don't just ask who feels safe, ask who doesn't and why.